Now I'm going to produce the dovetail housing. So the housing is going to be similar to this. So housings is, where would I use a housing? Probably if I was to do a shelf, or a cabinet, and I wanted to show off a dovetail feature, I would use a dovetail houses to make a show of it. So something similar to this. In fact, the same as this. This is a housing, and that's what we're going to perfect on this end to fit that end. Okay, so first of all, I need to take this out nicely and gently. Nice and snugly, that comes out like that. So I'm going to start with this end. So this is the tail, if you like, and this is the female. So I would actually, it might be, thinking about this, it might be best to do this first and then cut this to fit that. Yeah, just thinking about it. Okay, so I'm going to cut this first, cut this all out, and then fit this so it goes into that. Okay, right. Why that way round, you may ask me, is because if I manage to make this bigger, for whatever reason, I've still got a chance to make this bigger to suit that. Whereas if I cut this smaller and make this bigger, then it's going to be a loose fit. So that's why I'm saying to do this bit first, and then fit this to that way round. So I've got a template here, a 1-in-6 template, meaning a block of wood, and then I've come the 1-in-6 slope, the same bevel slope, which is what I need for this job here. Now, what is this for? Now, I'm going to clamp that on here. Okay, or yeah, clamp it on here. Not in the vise though, I'll have to do it on top of here. So I'll get the clamp on, and then put that on there like that. And then I'm going to get my Poscat saw, and I'm going to rest that on top of there. Now this looks quite tight, so I'm going to have to get one of my other saws, the Japanese saw, to do this bit because of this rigidness. Okay, so I'll have to go and get that from my. I've bought that my Japanese saw just so that I can put a cut, obviously going so far, obviously, and then I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to chisel that out. Now the thing that you've got to concern yourself is the curve of the saw blade. Yeah, so allowances have to be made for that when you, in relation to that block. So it doesn't want to be on the actual cut of the line. You just want to judge and by the curve of the saw. How can you judge that? Well, the only way you can judge that is if you look at, right, so this is what I mean by the curve of the saw. So it's the saw cut itself. This is what we call the curve of the saw. So that allowance must be done when you're putting this block on. Yeah. So you make a saw cut and just allow that same curve cut away from the line. So that's what I've done there. So I know that's about there. Now what I'm going to do is just pull this. The Japanese work on a pull stroke. Just keep that nice and flat against the jig. Keep nice and slow. Not rushing, nice and slow, does it? And just mindful that you don't go too deep. If you leave a mil away from the bottom of the housing would be fine, because you're always going to chisel that down. If you go too far, it just looks a bit less professional. Okay, so I'm going to just move this to the opposite end or the other side. Yeah. So, right, what I mean is, right, so I made a cut there, look. I made a knife mark, and then I'm using the actual tip of the saw blade just to allow myself enough so I know it's not going to impinge, even if I... That's probably too much now. See, that's too much. Yeah, so I'm just going to tap that and make sure that it's tight as can be. Yeah. And then that's going to sit in there like that. Yeah, it's going to... Oh, it's a bit much now, isn't it? Right, here we go. That's done.
Okay.
You don't have to have a Japanese saw to do that. I mean, the reason why I chose to use a Japanese saw is because my actual Dovetail saw, I'll bring it, wouldn't actually do that cut because of the ridge, this solid ridge on the tenon saw itself. But you can get deeper saws, yeah, Dovetail saws that are like, I don't know, 75 mil deep, yes. So it enabled you to do that. It's only because I couldn't, so that's why I got the Japanese saw out. Yeah, because it doesn't have a back to it. This works on a pull stroke. So that's the reason why I got this Japanese saw. You don't have to have a Japanese saw to do that. I mean, the reason why I chose to use a Japanese saw is because my actual Dovetail saw, I'll bring it, wouldn't actually do that cut because of the ridge, this solid ridge on the tenon saw itself. But you can get deeper saws, yeah, Dovetail saws that are like, I don't know, 75 mil deep, yes. So it enabled you to do that. It's only because I couldn't, so that's why I got the Japanese saw out. Yeah, because it doesn't have a back to it. This works on a pull stroke. So that's the reason why I got this Japanese saw. So the reason I'm going to put a relief cut is just making it easier for when we are chiseling out this section. That's why we put a relief cut in the middle. Yeah, because there's too much to take out in one piece, in my professional opinion. So, Okay, so now,
That was quick, Mr. Jones.
yes.
I want to say, you got to say something, Mr. Jones.
So now we've processed the housing. This is the housing, and now I'm going to cut the dovetail. It's all dovetail. The dovetail house to receive this now. So I'm going to cut this so that it's going to fit into there. So this is the next move. So first of all, I'm going to make a cut here, just down to the dovetail line that I've already marked using my trusted dovetail crosscut saw. Right, so we've got 1, 2, 3. I don't have to take very long. There. Flip this over. Now I've cut that shoulder. Now I'm going to just chisel it down as close as to the angle of the 1 in 6 dovetail slope, and then I'm going to finish off with a jig that I've made up just to finally neaten it up. So what I'm doing is, like, I've just not going as close to the lines as yet. I'm just reaffirming the lines on the one that I've cut already, and then I'm going to fit that into there. I'm just reaffirming the lines how I'm going to approach it. So I'm going to make sure that I just leave the line showing in this case to make that work. Now I've got a jig here. I've got a jig here, a chisel jig that I've created, and this is the same 1 in 6 slope, but I'm going to put this against here like that. I'm going to clamp this on the bench. In fact, if I do it this way, no, probably if I do it that way so you can see probably what I'm going to do. If I do it like that. So basically, this is the 1 in 10, so the same slope as that, glued on. Yeah, put 2 screws underneath there on a bit of MDF, and then I'm going to just clamp that on there like that. Okay, so I've set this up now, so I'm going to put my bevel edge chisel, 25mm, I'm going to go along there like that. Now, and then that's going to be nice and flat, keeping that nice and flat on there. Now, why did I not cut it with a saw? It's very hard to cut something like that, like 3mm, and have that nice and flat as well at the same time. You'll have to use a really fine saw to do that. So, like a dovetail saw, even finer. So, this is why I didn't use cut down there, down the end of it, instead of created this jig so that the end of it be nice and flat. As long as I keep that nice and flat, it'd be straight, and it serves the purpose for what I'm doing it for. Okay, so now I'm just going to slightly, just take a little bit at a time. Easy does it, like so. Because, you know, every time I go down, it's just a little bit of the end. When I say the end, I'm not taking one piece. I'm just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Just using the corner of the chisel, basically. So now I'm going to just knife that through with my chisel. like that. It's nice and neat. See? There you go. So, nice and flat. Look. Boom, boom, boom. Done. I've still got a little bit left on, but it's good that it's left on. So at least I can tweak it up some more as and when. So when I say left on, meaning my pencil line. See, there's a bit more left on there, which is fine. Better that you have it left on than taking off too much. Look, have a look. Yeah, there. And you can see it on the end.
What's your, do you mean that bit, H?
This here. The bit that I've already done, I've got still a line left on. Yeah. So I'll still maybe need to tweak it up a bit more when I haven't tried it in as yet.
Got it, I've got it.
Yeah. So this is the other side that I'm going to prepare down. The same method. So what I said before, just taking little bite-sized chunks, slice them, and I'm slicing down here, look, like this. Just using, so not chiseling all of it in one go. Yeah, just take your time with that one. Okay, and then I'm going to this knife there with a chisel. Okay, so
Right, one second, I'll come.
right, so now I've finished taking the surplus off from my housing. Yes, so this is the right 1-in-6 angle. You can see that there. Nice. I've gone up to my lines. Now this is the moment of truth, whether it fits or not, and let's try it. So. Here we go. Oh, I'll turn this around the other way actually. Well, it doesn't matter which way I do it, but let's see what it's like the other way. Let me just turn this around. No, it seems to be a little bit of tweaking to be done. Right, I'm just going to turn it one more time this way around. Oh, it's better this way around. Right, so here it comes. Okay, so here we have it. One dovetail housing. Look at that. Spot on, excellent. Look at that. No gaps on the shoulders. Wow, that's very good. Look at that. Look at that. Look. Wow. Yes. All joints are completed now. So we've got the dovetail housing, that's what I've just done. And that per se joint would be something in a cabinet that you might, exposed cabinet, you might make a feature of the end of that shelf. You might want to put a dovetail housing like this one. So you see that there. Okay, so that's a very good job. I quite like the look of that. I'm going to take that out now. That comes out like so. We've got our through dovetail here at the start of the exercise. Just goes like that. Okay, so that's that one. So again, no nice gaps, no gaps anywhere. Here, there, very tight fit. What you would do with this will be clean this up. Yes, when it's all together, glued up. I'm not going to glue this one, but this will be glued inside, left to dry, and then the surface would be finished to the actual shelf or the actual box or the actual drawer front. This will be flushed off afterwards using the appropriate plane. That could be the smoothing plane, could be the block plane. Okay, so now and then just pull this out this way. Oh. And then finally our flat dovetail that sits into here like that. Again, glued, put together, that'll be flushed off, level to the front. In fact, I could do that now actually, but it's going to be a dry run. This is not going to be glued up. It's just going to be as it is, as a dry fit. But most of the joints will be glued and then flushed off. So I'm just going to take this little bit here and see. This to show you. So set your plane nice and fine. Lightly taking it down. Like that. So it'll be nice and flushed off, just like it is there now. Like that. See that end grain? Look. Yeah. Okay. In fact, maybe I'll try the rest of it. Let's take this off. So I redo position that and try. Now, a bit of instruction. So when you're planing, you want to plane in this direction. Going this direction is not going to be good fit because you're likely to break this out. You want to come in at an angle like I've just done. Let me just bring this a bit higher. So what I'm saying is, if I start planing this way, what's going to happen is, because of the angle of the blade, that the timber will break out this way. So you don't want to come this direction. You want to come inward. Like this, like I'm doing, inwardly. From like the corner, like, yeah, just like I'm doing here now. Keep it nice and steady. Every so often, have a little look. Look, it's nice and flat there. I'm just going to flush off this part of the exercise. Okay, and there you have it. So what we've done a through dovetail, lap dovetail here and fits there, and a dovetail housing. Now, it's your turn to have a go.